Hello, 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 everyone. Hope your week is already off to a good start. I've been a busy boy, so there hasn't been a whole lot of planning for this episode, to be completely honest, and I guess that's probably fine because, spoiler in the title, there's really not a whole lot going on. I'm rather disappointed, honestly, because there's so much that I want to be excited about in gaming, and there are a couple things. I mean, it's a little disingenuous to say that absolutely nothing is happening. That's not really technically true. But I would say that next to nothing is happening this week. There are exciting things coming up. One of the things that I definitely want to talk about is a game that I haven't even gotten to play yet, and that is Split Fiction. It came out last Thursday, and it has already made quite the impression. I am going to get to finally play it tomorrow. That is Tuesday the 11th. Tuesday, March 11th. We're going to be streaming it. It's going to be a great time. P. Tony is going to be helping me get through that because it is co-op only, so I'm super excited about that. And then there's a little bit, I guess, kind of, sort of, more information about the Switch, or the Switch 2 specifically. I will talk about it. I don't know if it's even all that noteworthy, but, I mean, in a week when there's not really any other news, well, let's talk about it. I mean, that's the type of week that we'd want to have something like this, I guess. Also, I've been talking about Pokemon a lot lately. Last episode I talked about it, and I'm seeing, ever since I talked about it, I mean, not that I'm the trendsetter or anything, but ever since I talked about it, everybody and their mama's talking about Pokemon. Like, what? I follow another podcast. I won't name drop them, but they have their episodes on Tuesdays. The Tuesday after, so last Tuesday, one day after my Pokemon web show episode, they dropped a podcast episode that was literally called, Is Pokemon Worth Playing Again? Everybody's talking about Pokemon, so what's going on with that? Now, I haven't listened to that episode. I just saw the title and thought it was kind of neat. Perhaps I should tune in and give it the time of day. Also, guys, if you're listening back, the web show happens every Monday night at 6 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin. If you're watching here live and you haven't followed, I'm currently one follower away from having 1,111, so it'd be 1111. That'd be kind of cool. Maybe that'll happen during this show. That'd be real neat. And just if you're not following, maybe do that. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really supports. Also, if you have Amazon Prime, then you probably also have Twitch Prime. It's all bundled together. That means you can subscribe for free to any Twitch streamer that you would like. It doesn't have to be me, but I mean, if I told you about it and like if you learned it from me, maybe like, hey, thanks for teaching me this thing. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does support us. If you're listening back later on and you'd like to be a part of the live show, hey, that's where you can find it. Otherwise, make sure to like this podcast, rate it 5 stars wherever you enjoy it. Disclaimer, there's not a whole lot to talk about right now, and we're kind of in a lull where there probably won't be a whole lot to talk about until the Switch 2 finally lands. So, one of the perks of being here live, though, is that there's live chat. So I'm going to look into the chat right now and see what everybody's saying. Crimsonite says first. Of course you do, Crimsonite. Glad to see you. Glad that you're here. Artie Ops, a legend, is here. Said, hope all is well, my guy. Deep cleaning the house, about popping in to lurk. I appreciate your lurk, friend. Appreciate that. Let's go ahead and I guess let's get started with Switch stuff, because Switch stuff is what we do, right? I guess it's what we do now. So let's check it out. All right, so this is an article coming at us from The Verge. This is basically just a little bit more information about about some of the hardware information about the Switch. One of those things is that the Switch 2 will have NFC, which, I mean, I don't know if they're really going to leverage it too much with newer games, because I don't feel like it was super leveraged, but it does. I mean, they'll still sell amiibos, and it does make sense that it would still support NFC, because that really leans into the idea of backwards compatibility. This Switch is supposed to be able to play just about every game that's on the original Switch's library. Well, if you want to really have all the support for those games, you kind of need NFC. It's also going to have Wi-Fi 6, which, let me put that into perspective for you. That's crazy. There you go. There's your perspective. No, the reason that's so neat on this console is it should make like loading speeds, download times, online stability so much better. Now, online has never been something that I would say is Nintendo's strong suit, but having a strong connection definitely will help out the system. Here's where it's a little interesting. The PlayStation Portal that came out a couple years ago, it's really a streaming device only, which means it is 100% dependent on its wireless connection. It has Wi-Fi 4 in it, which is absolutely crazy for a device that has to stream. Whether you're streaming from the cloud or whether you're streaming from your PlayStation 5, it has to use the internet, the Wi-Fi card. That's the only option. And it is significantly slower than the new Nintendo Switch that's coming out in that regard. So that I find that rather interesting. The other thing that I think is not exciting but is kind of interesting is that there's this schematic that was released that kind of shows what the two USB-C ports are for. If you didn't know, there's two USB-C ports on the Switch 2 based off the reveal that we got. There's one in the middle of the bottom, like normal. That's the one primarily going to be used for docking. But there's also a USB-C port on the top, which has had a lot of the internet speculating over different functionality that this could bring. I mean, whether or not you can buy a separate screen for additional functionality that just, slots into that USB-C port, and maybe it serves as like a display port, and all of a sudden now you have two screens. Whether it allows you to completely flip the device, I don't know. The schematic seems to imply that it's only for power. Like, if you look at the way that this is routed here from I to J, and if you're an audio listener, then you'll just have to take my word for it. But the way this schematic is written out, you have your input on the top of the Switch, and it routes all the way to this K box, which is also junctioned to the port on the bottom. The thing is, that port on the bottom, I don't understand what these F and K is really for here, because this is only actually showing both of those going to power, and obviously they have to transfer data as well. So maybe I'm wrong. When I first looked at this before I actually started the podcast, I was under the impression that the top USB-C port may only be useful for charging. Maybe not. Still maybe so, but maybe not. But maybe so? I really don't know. I hope not. I hope that it's useful for more than that. It says the EUT is equipped with two rechargeable USB ports, top and bottom side. A pre-check was performed on the worst port, bottom side, for contacted emissions. Cabling and setups were taken into consideration, and test data was taken under worst-case conditions. The carrier level and noise levels were confirmed with and without the controller, B and C. Okay, and dock. Okay. As a result of comparing AC 120 volt and AC 240 volt at pre-check, conducted emission test was performed with AC 240 volt of the worst voltage as representative. Okay, interesting. I don't know what all that means. There's some more graphics here at the bottom. Let's see what it says. If you're hoping for faster Wi-Fi, I don't care if it's Wi-Fi yet. I don't see this. Nintendo's followed this pattern for decades. DMG was the original Game Boy. DOL. Nope, this I'm looking at. You'll also be able to charge Nintendo Switch 2 from either its bottom USB-C port or its new top USB-C port. The filing reveals Nintendo's announcement tease confirmed that the Switch would have an extra USB-C port on top, but I think this is the first real confirmation of charging from both. So maybe that's just what they're most excited about here, is that the top is not only for accessories, but also for charging, which is kind of a big deal. So that's good. That's actually really, really good. That's encouraging. Maybe we'll get a little bit more than what I think. It's unclear whether from these tests whether or not the Nintendo Switch 2 has faster charging speed or more power, or if it's more powerful when docked. The original Switch shipped with an unusual adapter that charged at up to 15 volts and 2.6 amps. FCC filings showed that the Switch 2 is still rated for a maximum of 15 volts, but also mentioned that an AC adapter that goes up to 20 volts. Both or either of those could be USB-C PD. But we can't really properly guess at charging speed in watts without knowing the amperage. We still don't know exactly when the Switch 2 will be released, but Nintendo has said it is coming sometime this year. So yeah, that's kind of exciting. I don't know. What do you guys think? I only really see one practical use case for having the ability to charge your Switch from the top, and that is that tabletop mode was kind of stupid, because if you did need to plug in your Switch and you're playing in tabletop mode using the built-in kickstand, you couldn't, because the USB-C port on the original Switch is laying on the ground. So there's no way. And, of course, the charger didn't have like a 90 or anything. It was just a straight port, so that was really easy to get kind of like bent up and cause issues through tension. So now, tabletop mode should be much simpler. You can just throw that thing there, kick the kickstand out, and plug it into the top if you need a charger. So that's kind of cool. Now I want to talk about the other thing that I am very excited about, and that's a little game called Split Fiction. It released on Thursday. It is the first game since Astrobot. It is the first game since Astrobot that I am actually genuinely stoked to play. If I didn't have to wait on a friend to play the game with me, I would have already played it at this point, but we're going to be starting it tomorrow with P. Tony. I'm very excited about it. We're going to stream the whole thing, so anybody that'd like to check that out, twitch.tv/WebbyPumpkin, I will be there. But I love... So this is from the same developers that are responsible for It Takes Two, A Way Out, and Brothers Tale of Two Sons. That's the exact reverse chronological order is what I just said. And I feel like each one of these games, so I've played all of them a little bit. I finished It Takes Two twice. Each of these games progressively gets better as you move along. Like every time the studio works on a new game, that game is better than the last game that they made. And I'm not expecting this game to be any different. It looks so good, and I don't think I'm the only one that thinks that. This is from Eurogamer. They reported that in the first 48 hours, so the weekend launch, or not even that, like Thursday and Friday, Split Fiction sold 1 million units. Developer Hazelight celebrated today's milestone on social media. This is what they said. They said, "The love you all show our game is overwhelming." It wrote on Blue Sky, "Everyone here at Hazelight are beyond happy, and we can't stop enjoying your amazing reactions." I've seen just a little bit on a Twitch stream because I wanted to see who is on each side of the screen most of the time so that I could set up cameras for whenever I live stream it on Tuesday. Anyway, needless to say, Split Fiction has had a great debut, along with scores of praises from across the industry. Hazelight's latest co-op, Caper, currently boasts a peak concurrent player number of 259,003 on Steam. That's really impressive when you compare it to It Takes Two, which is their most recent game. Granted, it's a little bit older. Its all-time concurrent player peak was 71,039. And it reached that 3 months ago as anticipation for Split Fiction grew. In October last year, Hazelight announced It Takes Two had sold over 20 million copies since its own debut in 2021. That number will no doubt be even higher now. A film adaptation of It Takes Two is also said to be in the works. That's really cool. But yeah, players right now as of March 6th, 82,360. 8,000 of those were still playing It Takes Two, which is just fantastic. This game is turning units. Now, when it comes to these players, some people have made the fair conclusion that that's like, it's kind of inflated because, you have to have two people playing it, but they only really sold half of those games because Hazelight, they do something incredible, and I've got to spotlight this creator, this development team for this, because I think it's one of the best things that's happened in the industry, and that is Hazelight does not require you to own 2 copies of the game if you're not able to play Couch Co-op. Now, don't get me wrong. This game is obviously built around the idea of Couch Co-op. It Takes Two was, Tale of Two Sons was, A Way Out. All of those games are definitely set up and work incredibly well for sitting on the same in the same space with someone looking at the same screen. They're fantastic. But we also know that that's just not exactly how the world works for the most part for the majority of gamers in the market. I mean, kids that still live with their siblings, yeah, or go over to a buddy's house, yeah. But a large part of the market are 30 and older, and they're sitting in their back room or whatnot. They're married, their kids, they're trying to get away and play with a buddy, and that buddy is also, married or in school or away or working, and so you don't live with these people who want to play a lot of the times. In that case, you can do what's called the free pass. I'll actually pull that up on the store page because I think it's so cool. I did this on... so there's 2 cool things about this. This is through Steam. I got the game through Steam. It's also not even a full-price game. It's only $50 USD, which is crazy. But if you buy the game, then a friend can download what's called the Split Fiction Friends Pass. They did this for It Takes Two as well. They get pretty much the full game installed on their device locally. They just don't have the license to play it without you. Then whoever owns it, so for example, myself and Peter, I own the game. Peter will do the friend pass. I will send Peter an invite to play, and he'll use that link to open friend pass, and it will be just as though we both own the game without any of the quirks that come with something like Steam Remote Play or Remote Play Together. This is truly local gameplay. And it's even better than that because the game supports full cross-platform play, even through the Friend Pass. So like I said, I purchased this game through Steam, but if I wanted to play it with my buddy Mr. Whittier Jones, he could download the Friend Pass on PS5 or on his Xbox, and we could still play together with no problem. I think that is incredible and is such just an overwhelmingly positive thing. Thing's not even the strong enough word there. It's such an overwhelmingly positive action to take in this climate where I feel like most game developers are just like Mr. Krabs, money, 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 money. And they release unfinished products. You have to buy multiple copies. You have to buy, if you want the full experience, you got to get that deluxe edition. You got to buy that battle pass. You know what I mean? Like, it's nickeling and diming. And then you have gyms out here like Hazelight that are literally providing a finished experience, because I haven't seen any complaints about glitches with this game, a finished experience on day one that they only require 2 friends to own 1 copy of. That is really cool. That is really cool. So if you hadn't heard about this game until now, if I really am the first person to introduce you to Split Fiction, please let me encourage you to check it out. And if you're on the fence, you want to try a little more, because this one is, I guess, a little more teen, like a little older. Well, I don't know, they're both pretty teenish. If you want to try something that's cheaper, I think it might even be on Game Pass, to give it a go to see if you like this style of game, check out It Takes Two. That game was incredible. It is about 2 parents who are contemplating a divorce, but even with that being the case, it's really, really great. It's really, really great. So that's, I wish, how many did I say? 1 million units sold so far? That's crazy. And yeah, and so 1 million units, probably 2 million people playing if you have a buddy that's playing it like that. And I hadn't even bought mine at that point. I actually bought my copy of it today, so I didn't even get counted in that 1 million. That's 1 million copies within 48 hours of launch. I wonder where we are. I'm going to see if I can find that. What is today? At the time of recording, this is March 10th. I am curious how many copies have been sold as of right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that out in the 48-hour. All right, all the news articles are about the first 48 hours, so I'm not going to be able to find that out. I'm going to jump back into the chat here on Twitch and see what everybody has to say. We got Casey here. What's up? I just play games with people, but Webby, what about the people that don't have friends? Well, this might not be a game for them because it is co-op only. However, if I'm not mistaken, the way that It Takes Two worked is if you really didn't have any friends but you wanted to play this game, you could, your mileage is going to vary about how good of an experience this option is, but you could actually do like randoms. Like you could find a random person, and I'm pretty sure, I'm literally going to Google that. What happens if you want to play Split Fiction but don't have friends? Or I'll just look, can you play Split Fiction single player? Let's see. There's an article here from CNET. It looks like it doesn't. There's obviously no way to play it by yourself, but they've made it really, really easy to find a partner to play the game with. Hazelight posted an invite link to his Discord server so that people could find someone to play with if they didn't have one. Of course, there's the Friend Pass, so usually it's not too hard to convince somebody to play a game with you, that like a brand new AAA game that has this much hype around it and they don't even have to pay for it. Usually that's not too hard. It didn't take much convincing to get P. Tony to play it with me because he already was kind of interested, and now he's basically going to get to play the game in its entirety for free. So, like, that's kind of a win-win for him, right? Like, way to go him. So, yeah. And that's, I guess that's basically all there is to the news today. There's not anything happening. There's nothing going on in the gaming world, or at least nothing going on that's interesting to me outside of Split Fiction. and that little bit about the Nintendo Switch. I don't know, chat here in the live stream. Is there anything going on that is happening in the gaming world that you're like, man, Webby, you got to talk about this? Because it's very likely. I mean, my IRL life and IRL job has been quite busy lately, but it's very likely that I have missed something, but I don't know because it's been kind of hard. So I don't know. April is getting close. That's when we're supposed to see the next direct around the Switch 2. I suspect we'll see some more information about Pokemon there, as well as hopefully a release date and a price is what will probably get confirmed in April. So looking forward to that. I need to put that on my calendar. I want to get maybe a paper calendar again because I got to get my calendar under control. I'm going to jump back into the chat here. P. Tony is here. He said it's a pretty good deal for me. It really is a pretty good deal for you. It really is. And so it also, were you here earlier when I talked about how it sold like 1 million units in the first 48 hours? Like, this game is being praised, and I think so. I'm gonna make a prediction. It's still early, so I'm gonna preface this with I don't know, but as it stands, and this is someone who hasn't played it, as it stands right now, with the hype, with it having an overwhelmingly positive review on Steam, and with this game also being available on every major platform, except for the Switch, of course, but on every major platform, I think we might, guys, we genuinely might be looking at a contender for Game of the Year 2025. This might be our Game of the Year. And you know what? I'm for that because like I said, I love everything that this developer is doing. Like, they're making it super accessible. I mean, it's cheaper than a regular AAA game. Very accessible to play with friends because, like I said, you only have to buy one copy. And cross-play. It doesn't even matter what anybody has. Like, if I've got a computer and you've got a PlayStation, if I got an Xbox and you've got a PlayStation, or two computers or two Xboxes or two PlayStations, or however the configuration lines up, you can play this game with your friend. That's awesome. That's great. That's the best thing ever. And I think honestly, listen up, developers. I think more game developers could stand to benefit and maybe take some notes from this type of behavior. Affordable, accessible, finished. I mean, I'm fine if there's certain issues with the game, like little ones, you know what I mean? Like, oh man, we could have never have known that. But this whole practice that's pretty common right now of developers releasing half-baked games that are just not there. Thank you so much for that subscription, KC. Just came in and is supporting the Pumpkin Patch and supporting the Webb Show through their donations and through their contributions here on Twitch. Thank you so much, KC. I appreciate you. So, just I don't know a better thing for the industry, especially when we are in a time where, like I was just saying, it's not that uncommon for developers to release games that are just not there, because I don't even blame the actual developers all the time so much. Sometimes I blame publishers that are totally pushing them to meet a certain deadline, to hit a certain quota, and sometimes the game is just not done by that point. It hasn't gotten enough love. I think we've seen that more often than we've seen the opposite. So it's just really nice to see Split Fiction potentially be, I guess, against the grain when it comes to that. The other good thing is, how many games have you gotten recently that if you really want to get the full experience, you better fork over extra money because you got to get that DLC, you got to get that deluxe edition, the gold standard edition, you got to get that battle pass, you got to get the cosmetics, in-app purchases all day long. Of course, I haven't booted this game up yet, but if I were to hold it to the standard of It Takes Two, there will be no in-app or in-game purchases for this game. There will be nothing but gameplay, a rich, compelling story about two authors that each write a different type of genre. One writes fantasy, the other writes science fiction, and they get sucked into their books, and they keep bouncing back and forth between them. That sounds awesome, and I am just elated that a game like this is getting this kind of recognition and this kind of love. Cannot wait to play it with P. Tony tomorrow. I've been literally counting down the days, and honestly, I would be like, hey, you want to play it right now, buddy? But I've got I got to get this podcast edited and the bonus episode ready. Guys, if you didn't know, also, members on YouTube get bonus episodes to the Webb Show. So check that out. If you're not a member and you're interested in bonus episodes, you can get it for just a couple bones, you know, just a couple bones, just like 5 bones a month, and there you go, extra content. There you go. And it supports me, and I really appreciate that, especially right now. IRL is looking like, I don't know what IRL job work is going to look like, so I appreciate you guys. Where was I going with that? I was going with the idea that, so I got to get this edited. I got the bonus episode, and I got to get my other podcast, Tangled Christianity, uploaded because I haven't done that yet. So I know I can't really play that tonight, but if Peter were to say, hey, you want to go ahead and boot it up, I'd at least have to think about it. It's a good time. I'm going to get back into the chat real quick. It seems to be doing really well. I think I only have 2 games in my wish list that aren't released yet. Man, most of my wish list on Steam is released at the moment. It's kind of wild. And then Enoch is here. What up, Enoch? How's it going? Guys, that's pretty much it, you know? I know that's not the most riveting episode or anything, but it is what I got. I got to record a bonus episode that's happening right after this, and will be uploaded to YouTube tonight. So if you happen to want to support over there, if you are watching on Twitch and you want to spend $5 and support, but you don't really care where you spend it, $5 on YouTube gets you the bonus episode, and it also gets you emotes on YouTube that you can use anywhere. It also supports me more. So that same $5, I get 75% of that on YouTube, whereas I think it's 75. Whereas on Twitch, that $5 gets you emotes and it gets you cool things here, but I only get 50% of that on Twitch. So if you don't care where you spend the $5, but you want to support, YouTube's a great option. So I appreciate that there, and you get a bonus episode out of it. So thank you guys. If you're not already subscribed to the YouTube channel, help me with that. If you're not following on Twitch, I'm 1 away from 1111. That'd be really cool to go ahead and hit that milestone. And then be sure to like this podcast, rate it 5 stars, wherever you guys enjoy your podcast. I appreciate you all. Come hang out with us during a live episode on Mondays at 6. And if you are here live with me, hang out through the end of this outro because I'm going to come back on after I hit the stop recording button, and we'll find someone amazing that we can go get some Webby love to. And that would be the ideal situation. Guys, I love you all. I'm so grateful for your attentiveness and for tuning in and being a supporter of the Pumpkin Patch and the Webb Show. You guys are the best. Hey, in the comments, tell me what you're most looking forward to in gaming in 2025. That way I know what to talk about. Because I don't know. See you guys later. Doodles.
Let's take flight. The Webb Show is on tonight. Come along, it's pure delight.